What's going on, guys? Gusto the 13th here with a new video talking about the latest banner drop suit, which is this ridiculous thing, the Jurick, or I don't know, maybe you could call it like the God Kai. So this is a variant from the MSVR days, although apparently it does make an appearance in some of the crossbone stuff as well. Then another 400 raid, and so soon after we got the metal spider and all that other good junk. But ground and water compatibility, ground only, as you can imagine, something this big and doofy. But let's try to get into some of its weapons, talk about its stats and some of the things that it has going on here. So the main gun and the nail are pretty par of the course. 2400 on this for the nail itself. This does have a heavy attack as well. And the Jurick arm itself with the particle cannon, instant stun, 85% on the heat rate, 1600 on the power, and 300 meters on the range. Looking then at its alt weapons, we have two different things for the particle cannon. Instead of just being a 2-tap like the regular GOG, we have this, which is a commit stance particle, like particle beam, as well as a kind of big Zam style all the way around particle cannon shot, which let me see something. The GOG, okay, no, the GOG only has the 2 in the front. I thought it might have actually had some extra all around its body. Because I was gonna say, if that's the case, then let it do that. Fuck it, sure, right? Or even just give it the alt fire for the discharge. That'd be nice. That being said, this does have you commit to the stance to do it. You cannot charge it while moving. And both this and the Mega Particle are both focus required, so with this one only being a second, really fast. Technically, if your opponent does not dodge or boost, you can actually get in fast enough to follow up with this after doing an initial stun, depending on what kind of trade you think you're going to be doing with that person. And with 250 range, this doesn't have a whole lot of crazy range, but look at that power. 3k is flat. With the heat rate of 30, which isn't too bad. But the real meat and potatoes of this is going to be in the stats and the skills. So let's go down the line here. So like we said, 400 for this one. Its health is actually pretty healthy at 21k. Ballistic resistance and beam resistance of 28. Melee resistance of 18, range strength at 10, and melee strength at 15. Both of those being pretty low, mostly because one's for setups and both of them have pretty high output options. Especially since you're running around with a heavy attack on this suit. Movement speed of 80. So the GOG itself actually only goes to 75. But there is a difference when we get to the skills. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Top speed of 180, thruster gauge of 60, and turning speed of 51. Pretty slow on the turning speed, unfortunately. Moving on to the part slots, we got close 14, medium range 9, and long range 5. And going into the skills here, we got assault booster level 1, high performance balancer level 1, maneuver armor level 2, melee combo controller level 2, enhanced tackle 4, which means 95% plus to the attack on the output itself, and 10% to the distance covered when you do the tackle itself. Which means that this is more or less meant to do that as a follow-up in certain situations. Like we said before, it does have a heavy attack, pretty decent coverage on it. You'll see when we get into the practice room as well. Anti-blast stabilizer, damage control 3, active guard Kai, so another one with this active guard Kai. Which means when you block, you can actually counter after the fact with extra boosted attack as well. Not bad. Aquatic mobile shooting 1, auxiliary power, so this is a unique one, and for anyone who's ever been checking out like RPGs and things like that, if you ever taken a hellacious hit and survived with something like hang tough or whatever, focus sash, that kind of shit, that's what this is. So at 1% or more HP, if an attack would destroy you, survive on that set amount of HP instead. Temporarily reduces damage from the enemies when activated, nullifies all reactions except for cumulative damage stagger, but only at the point of skill activation, can't be reactivated. So when you're getting beat up at the near death's threshold, as long as you're over 1% HP, you will get bailed out. And because you immediately get that extra defense up, which, you know, there's no set percentage here, but it's pretty significant if you notice when you get knocked around. I'm up here where I'm at, and normally not in the corner because I want to show you that the defense up indicator does actually come up when you get that close. But this is actually something that can really help you out of a lot of binds, because this isn't something that is just good for surviving on the ground, but it's also something that will keep you in the fight and able to swing at people because of all those other reductions. And then of course you get shoulder buffer and special arms equipment buffer, so 10% on the arms, 15% on the shoulders. But one thing that's a bit more of an obvious difference, and oh god, 45 on the turn speed for this too, so like slight upgrades here, right? But nowhere near as crazy as just your average normal bipedal kind of suit. But the one thing that this is lacking that this has is shock dampeners, which for this suit, because of its lack of speed and sheer size, was always very important. And I would argue, despite having instant stuns and stuff, it should probably still be important for this thing too, but you know, because they stacked it more and because it has more stuff going on, outside of just trying to run in for scoops, they're trying to work with a trade-off here. And I guess to a certain degree that's acceptable. I really don't know why I ended up in a store like this. Let me out, please. Help. But it does make me wonder, if they ever do an adjustment on this suit, will that be the thing that they try to slap on there? Right now, though, it is in an interesting place, because you have to keep in mind, one of the bigger reasons that you don't see dogs around as much anymore is because everyone and their dog, you know, the entire Goof line, you have the Aqua line, the Water Dominance running around at this cost, the Metal Spider itself, all of those suits have fucking cables on them. You know, the Stutzer line as well, especially because the Zaku Stutzer is available in the shop now too. All of those have a cable that heavy staggers, and then on top of that you have a bunch of suits running around with shotguns. And despite all the reductions in stats and stuff, cumulative damage, even if you have to chew through that damage control itself, is still an option, especially because you're so slow and can't really juke or finesse your way through gunfire that well. And you'll see that come into play more than likely when you mess around with this suit. You know, I keep forgetting. There's one more thing I wanted to look at. Going down the line here for enhancement list, so frame reinforcement, 100 health to that. Complex expansion, thankfully, coming in at the second pip here for the extra slottage. Anti-blast, anti-ballistic armor, and anti-beam armor and reinforcement, so only +1 for both of those, which is, I'll be honest, that's kind of lame. Anti-general defense, though, for 4%, that's not bad. And then, of course, extra little bit of health on a pretty thick suit already. Not necessary, but not unwelcome, right? So, finally, let us bring this over to the practice area and show off how this thing is working in terms of animations and whatnot. Okay. So, instant stagger on that. Keep in mind that for this, you can't actually move and charge it. And you also can't adjust this beam. So once you actually let it loose, it's just going to go there for the entire duration. As you can see for this surround charge, that is the entire body. And hitting for a decent amount, that was like 3,300 on a type disadvantage suit. Not bad. Notice that even with that, that percentage being low on the actual retard, because you're doing it all the way around your body, it pretty much is just a one and done. For that, you can even see it because it's showing the yellow on there right here. Some people, when we were talking about this, was like, well, it might be a little bit of a get off me sort of situation, but it's like, obviously they don't want it to stun because you risk hitting your own teammates that you can't see behind you. But I don't know about it being a get off me sort of thing, because people are deterred by stuns more than they are by damage. Yeah, so it's up in the air whether or not that's a good thing or not, but it is still something to try to quick tap people with before they get completely away, though, because you can just at least still direct the one that's coming out in front of you. and get some extra stuff done with that. Because as you can see, these hit for a decent amount. 29 even on a neutral type enemy. That being said, keep in mind that for a suit this big, they are not very forgiving with the hitboxes on this thing. We're literally, you know, hitting these guys or moving against them for these downswings and just brushing their arms and nothing. So it is at the claw specific in some of these situations. So try to be careful with that. You've got the usual swipes on the sides if you need to do some reach aroundage and whatnot. The actual neutral itself, everything about this suit, because of its sheer size, even though it seems a little snappy here, it's kind of actually slow and it's not super great. That being said, this is a 2-hit for that heavy swing. I want to show you guys the kind of output that this can do though. So let's try to get to another gun cannon over here. And we'll show that off. You got the crazy power stink lines going on, of course. Alright, so come on. Pain. Pretty powerful. That's a one and done on the gun cannon. Anything that doesn't have a lot of resistance or a particular amount of health, especially at low cost, is pretty easy to fall victim to this. And it does have a good amount of coverage on the actual downswing itself. Now, that being said, raw running with this is a little bit rough because, as you can tell, this thing does not move very fast. And even the boost only affords it so much. The usual test here as well, not a lot of the output. We already kind of did this over on the stream VOD, which you can check out over on YouTube as well. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all those, because typically if we get a suit, we go into practice and check out all the stats and stuff ahead of time on the stream before we make these videos. You know, just so that we can talk about it, that sort of thing. But yeah, not really a base buster, as you can imagine. You can do some output if you really need to help put it over. But first and foremost, you're mostly going to be going in there and making sure other people don't peel your guys off while they're doing the actual output. But yeah, this is a pretty strong suit in terms of just being a real bruiser. Typical raid stuff in that regard. Oh, hold on. Oh, did it do it? Yeah, I did it. Okay, good. It's like, I'm not sure if I actually had to mess around with that or not. Boom, boom. So yeah, very, very monkey with the the downswing as well as the counter too. They definitely have fun with this suit, and apparently the designer, or the designers for this, one of them had to advocate for this suit actually being put in, which I find kind of funny. But this is a suit that we even joked about on the podcast a long time ago, being a potential option, just because of how silly it is. So I'm glad that it's here, even if it ends up being like not super crazy. So I'm trying to screw around a little bit, get these guys to do some damage here. The problem is that he wants to do all this melee and shit. That's gonna take too long. Oh my god, switch to your fucking gun. Stop doing melee. Yeah. Oh, he didn't suck. So admittedly, the AI isn't the best for this. They're not very aggressive. Come on, dude. I literally had my gun out. What the fuck? So there, right there. Right at 45, it came short. And there's, for a very brief second, you'll have certain situations where you'll hit that defense up in order to keep you going. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that there can be certain situations, especially if you have a lot of cumulative on you, where it may or may not actually save you just because they hit you at just the right amount where the residual damage happening around you just makes up the difference. Especially if you're already past the 1% mark. That's something to keep in mind as well. That being said, I don't know if that really indicates that it pierces, but still. Feel a little bit bad though, because I was trying to do this show it off in practice, and it was showing, but I didn't have my camera moved, so you couldn't really see the fence up and all that start coming down. So I'm trying to get a little bit more of a clearer shot, but you'll see it when we actually move into the match as well. The one thing about this is that despite its kind of so-so defensive points, because it has a really thick health pool at this cost, even against type disadvantaged suits, it's still not doing too badly for itself. But yeah, you do gotta kind of mind what threshold you're at for that 1%. Especially if you put on a little bit of extra health, because that does mean that it'll be at a different value, I would assume. But overall, I think this is a pretty neat suit, and we do have a match. I'm gonna be honest, we had a lot of mixed bag stuff with this, mostly because of some of the traversal and other issues with this not having the dampeners. But if there is one thing that this suit excels at, it is within a very aggressive team, which you'll be seeing right around here.
All pilots, launch when ready. Make me proud out there.
Oh boy. Well, this is a shit show right out of the gate. And I'll choose to go raid. Disgusting.
Commencing operation.
The brain rot's too real. I should downswing all of you.
We've taken some light damage.
So we got two. It might be all raid on the other side then. No, they got a dominance. Never mind. Oh, and they have a fucking Aztec, actually.
Enemy unit down. Well done. That mobile suit won't last much.
That actually didn't do that much. Does he not have the part?
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Allied unit destroyed.
Do it again. Thank you. Thank you. You want to tappity tap? Let's see. I guess I'll try to get around the other side.
Ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Your unit's been destroyed.
That's fine. Ooh, the pixie. The pixie fucking jumped the Aztec. It's like, what the fuck? Didn't kill though. Wow, it's gotta be thick then.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile. Get out there and try again.
That or maybe he just has more boost and output. What's going on?
Allied unit destroyed.
Oh, that hit his shield somehow. Oh, but that wasn't enough to fucking stun him. god! That still did damage to me, by the way. What kind of horseshit? Fuck you.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Uh-oh. Hey now. Hey now.
That mobile suit won't last much longer.
Ah, what a pain.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Your unit's been
Oh yeah, the heavy ready. Damn. Okay. What did he hit him with that he didn't get stunned with that? Oh, it was the Gog's beam. Yeah, Bowstring's not down is nutty. The fact that it has combo controller
Get out there.
really makes a like crazy difference in the way that it sets itself up
An
for
ally has
things.
destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Because it's still fast when it comes to how it transitions between shit.
Allied unit destroyed.
Get his ass. Oh, hey now.
Taking some
Oh god, the whip.
supporting fire. Taking heavy damage.
Ow, ow, ow. Oh, and he's got that ready. That sucks.
Long range support
Oh, but they put it on him.
won't last much longer. Supporting fire.
Ah, that sucks. I didn't get to see it because of the stun earlier. That neutral not connects. Oh, the scoop. But also the heavy.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Get out there and try again. Allied unit destroyed. This battle's dead even. We need to find a way to pull ahead. Allied unit destroyed. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. You're taking some light.
Okay.
You're taking heavy damage, pilot.
Yeah, I kind of grounded myself by doing that. That's my fault.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
No, I can't get him.
Enemy unit down. Well done.
There we go. So he's got the resistance. So I gotta worry about that. It's interesting because some of the exchanges that we're winning are really weird. And part of it is because of hanging tough, but I think it's also just because of some of the defenses that it has.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Obviously on smaller maps, it's gonna have a bit of an easier time. Some of the kit that it has seems to kind of keep it at range in order to be effective, like the initial like gooch beam and stuff. But, like, yeah, I should have been dead there, but because of that skill, he actually got to get away with that.
An ally has destroyed an enemy. Your unit's been
Again, with the no iframes for that, bro.
allied unit.
Ah, pain.
1 minute left. Bring that victory home. Get out there and try again.
It is interesting though, because it does seem that as long as you have like a little, even like a little bit of a lip of health left,
Allied unit destroyed.
you'll still get that. Oh, he didn't fucking swing. But it's also too slow, so he didn't get the swing either. Oh, wow. Oh, get him, get him. Wait, what? Oh, the fucking goof. Oh, but he didn't... Hmm? He didn't combo controller on that. Oh my god.
You earned this victory.
Nope. Ridiculous. Oh my god. Saito. Of course, because he was on my ass for most of that. So this other Genmai left. Did he leave partway through and I didn't notice? He even made one rage quit. Goof. More raids, more goofs.
You're getting some praise.
So not a stellar run on our part, but still really goofy. And it does seem like it's surviving a lot of stuff that it probably shouldn't. Like my own impulse to get out and try to grab points and stuff is actually like betraying me a little bit here. So that was our goober match in the suit, running around with a bunch of raids. But as you can see, when they're a little bit more focused and are having a hard time, not just with you, but with other people, suddenly a lot of the usual counters that you'll see dealing with this suit kind of go out the window. And that's interesting because due to this not having that dampener, two things are typically going to happen. You're going to have to really approach yourself from far away in a lot of situations if you want to get that midsection beam off. And if you really want to try to wind this up, you really do have to, you know, hit corners or come in when other people are doing stuff, because otherwise, you know, you get countered, you get cabled. Usual stuff that people know. That's why the Shazar A is kind of favored, right? Because it's a little bit easier to get that approach off without having to worry about it too much. But because of the skill that this has and the kind of way that it behaves otherwise, this is a suit that does get away with a whole lot more in bigger brawls. So, when you have a lot more of an aggressive team that's just clashing with people and fucking around, you're gonna find a lot more openings with this once you're already closed in. You do have a lot of leeway with that forward advance on the downswing, as you can see. Pretty generous. On top of the fact that if you do have enough time because other people are stun looping opponents or have them on the floor, you come in with this, you do the big slam, it's a 2-tier hit, so one way or another you're gonna get some sort of bread in there, unless you completely slide off. That being said, this also, because both of his weapons are in the gut, it does sometimes have some clearance issues, but as you can see there, it does pierce with that big Groby. And if push comes to shove and you don't really have anything else to charge required on this, it's a little unfortunate, but it can help. I think that's one thing I will say about this suit for sure, is that the sub-weapons both being charged only is a little, well, especially when one of them makes you stand still on a suit that's already so slow and that doesn't have anything to really defend itself while it does that charge. It does seem a little much to have you charge for both of those, especially when you don't really have, I don't think, even a lot of build up on that. Let's check that real quick. I don't think a singular beam on the big spread shot really accumulates a lot of stun in particular. Alright, so let's turn off the AI real quick. No. Ooh, actually, check that out. So that was almost full. That's actually pretty significant. So, with that being low impact enough to not stun itself, if you come into a situation where there's other people getting already hit and they're accumulating, that may well be a situation that you can come in and potentially stun multiple people Or at the very least, aim it at someone who's already got some pressure on them and just let them fucking have it. That being said, this is a little bit, it's like 2.5 or something with the charge. This doesn't feel like a second sometimes. It does feel a little bit slow. But got a little bit more range play in that regard. Be careful though, because obviously 250, it feels like a decent distance when you're closed in and just trying to hit people that are immediately in front of you. It becomes significantly smaller the longer you have to try to spend to pursue certain units. But this is kind of a neat addition. This is something that we've talked about on the podcast a couple times in the past. It's kind of funny that we actually do have it one way or the other. Do I think that this is going to be like a crazy meta suit? Not really. I think that this will be a very good simple battle suit though, when you're in clans and whatnot, just because you're already running pretty aggro teams in order to get those kills. This having a really thick, heavy attack on top of just a lot of fightability when you're already in range and clustered up means that this, I think, is a pretty strong contender for just doing some extra bullying. As you saw there, if we get close enough to somebody and get 2 of those beams on a person, that's actually enough to get them into stun. I don't know how easy that is to recreate, especially considering that this can't be done on boost. So you have to do it as soon as you land and start to walk. But yeah, once again, you saw there, it is reproducible. You can get some stuns on them if you hit them at an angle that actually allows you to hit multiple beams. So there's a lot of weirdo tech with this, but this is a weirdo suit. Even just looking at it, right? It's a fucking gorilla. So let me know how you guys have been faring with this. This is the... Actually, what is this thing called? I'm so used to calling it the gorilla. But that's not what it's called. It's the Jurick. Out here in GBO2. Let me know in the comments if you've actually gotten this as well. And until next time, I hope you guys have a good one. And I'll talk to y'all later.